think we need any props. We'll be kneeling for a bit. So if that's like unpleasant, maybe a pillow for your butt might be a little nice support system. Other than that, we'll start in child's pose whenever you're ready. So we'll come to our shins, big toes touch, knees open nice and wide, and then we'll bring ourselves forward, chest to the earth, palms reaching out in front of us. Trying to find some relaxation in this pose, letting gravity sink our hips down, letting our head hang heavy, letting our shoulders open gently. Child's pose is a nice place to bring your attention to your breath, slowing your inhales and exhales, feeling the back of your rib cage expand and contract as you let air in and out. Slowly, gently, we'll walk ourselves up to upright. And we're gonna bring our knees together so we're sitting on our heels in a kneeling position. Try to find a little length in our spine here. We'll shrug our shoulders up to our ears and drop them down. Up to our ears and drop them down. Up to our ears. Do a couple circles, so back behind, down, forward. Nice. And interlacing our palms, we'll push our palms away, or our fingers, push palms away from us, rounding your back, gaze down. And then opening our arms out to the side and towards behind us, maybe interlacing fingers behind us or not quite. Squeeze shoulder blades together behind us, arching our back, look up towards the ceiling. Repeating that arm circle wide to the front, interlace fingers, push palms away. And then release that grip. Arms come behind you, interlace behind you. Think about it, opening the front of our chest, squeezing shoulder blades together. Nice. We'll drop our arms to our sides. And we're gonna look over one shoulder and then through center, over the other. Back and forth super slowly, finding that full range of neck motion. If kneeling for this long is just the worst for you, you can certainly switch to a cross-legged position. Otherwise, a little pins and needles is just fine for us. Next time our head's back to forward, we'll tilt side to side instead of looking side to side. So just one ear towards the shoulder, and then towards the opposite shoulder. Back and forth a few times. The next time your right ear's towards your right shoulder, we'll leave it there. We can take our right arm as a little extra weight to hold our head further over. Not like a big tug, but maybe a little nod yes or no here can get into some areas of your neck that need it. Nice. And then with your hand, we can push our head up and over, let it fall to the other side. A little extra weight holding that head over for our next stretch on the opposite side. Maybe nod yes or no here. Nice. And that hand can help stand our head back to upright. Let's drop our chin to our chest. You can interlace your fingers behind the back of your head if you'd like for a little extra weight there. Keeping the back tall, our spine long, shoulders up, head hangs as heavy as it can. Just working on stretching the neck here. Nice. And we can do some head circles now, maybe just side to side across the front. If you do a full neck circle all the way across the back, keeping your jaw super loose. We don't want to find end range of motion of our head towards the back, just to the sides and forward. All right, bringing our head to upright. We're gonna squeeze our face, scrunch it into a little like sour lemon, squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then open it super big, and then squeeze it together. Open it super big. One more time, squeeze it together. Chew some bubble gum, like really exaggerated chewing action with our jaw. And then open our face. Okay, thank you. We hardly ever stretch our face. Sometimes we need to do that. And let's walk our hands forward, coming to tabletop. Oof, I want to stretch out my legs. So we'll tuck our toes under and come to a soft downward facing dog, just opening the back of our knees here. Oh, you can pedal one heel and then the other towards the earth. Nice. Raising up onto our tippy toes, we'll then lower our heels back down towards the ground, finding that length in the back of our legs. Yes. All right, let's come back to tabletop, all fours. From here, we're gonna walk our hands out in front of us. Our butt will stay high for puppy dog pose, lowering our forearms, maybe our forehead or our chin even to the ground. Adding a little side bend to this, so if your head's on the earth, we'll pick it just off the ground, tenting up our fingers, walking our hands over to one corner of our space. I don't care if we go left or right first, and then lowering down with a bit of a side bend in our puppy. And then walking our hands over to the other edge of our space, side bend on the opposite side. Then we'll return our hands to straight in front of us, puppy dog pose, lowering our head and chest down. If you've got a lot of range and your elbows are on the earth, you could bend your elbows and pat yourself on the back here. Awesome. All right, we'll walk our hands back underneath us, coming back to tabletop. Oof. Again, we'll find down dog. So we'll tuck our toes under, hips up high, lifting our knees off the earth, upside down V, pedaling alternating heel onto the ground. Then rising up onto our tiptoes in our downward facing dog, we're gonna take our heels and send them both over to the left side of our space, Lowering down with our toes pointing towards the right side. So we're in like a twisty butt downward facing dog. Pushing into your palms, trying to send your head between the space between your biceps here. Cool. Back to tippy toes, those heels lift high, and then spin on over to the opposite side. Pushing for our twisty down dog on the opposite side. Back to tippy toes with our heels straight in the center. Then we'll send those heels to the ground behind us, downward facing dog. Walk our hands to the back of our space, to our feet, coming to a hanging forward fold. Arms can dangle here. They could interlace behind our heads again. Grab opposite elbow, whatever works for you. Keeping a soft bend in our knees so we're not hyperextending. Maybe stillness is right here. Maybe we sway gently side to side or forward and back. Releasing anything we're doing with our arms or hands, bending our knees enough until our hands can come to the ground. We'll walk our hands back out to our downward facing dog, pushing into palms, hips up high again. Whew. Great. Then we'll lower our knees down to the earth, untuck those toes, and we'll sit back on our hips, or on our heels, hello. And then we're gonna do a half kneeling pose here. So this will be tricksy, but we'll figure it out. We're gonna rock our weight onto our right butt, and then we're gonna pick up this left foot and put the left sole of the, yeah, okay, we figured it out. Cool, so we've got the left knee up into the air, and then the right, yeah. If this is precarious, you can certainly put some pillows or something underneath you or use your hands. Let's get cozy here though. So let's twist to figure out what this feels like. So we'll look over our left shoulder. You could grab this right knee as a little prop to push against to spin yourself over your left shoulder. And then spinning through center, we'll spin to the opposite side, looking over our right shoulder. And then back to center, we'll place both hands on this left thigh, this left knee. We're gonna work on ankle mobility here. So we can even use our chest to just push our weight into this left knee. Knees over toes is a thing some people are scared of, but we really want this ankle mobility for our deepest squats and a lot of even running and other activities. So if we're using like control in our stretching of pushing that knee over a toe, it's good for us, I promise. So you can rock as much body weight as you're comfortable into your left thigh to get a really acute angle in the front of your ankle angle here. Maybe spinning it a little bit side to side with that knee if that feels safe to you. Might feel like a calf stretch in the left side too if you're keeping that left heel grounded. Or just like weird stuff, which is what stretching is. Good job. All right, we'll come back to sitting upright without any pressure on that left leg. We got a weird forward fold to do here now. So now we're gonna fold forward over our right thigh. So we're gonna let our belly come towards that right thigh as much as possible. Our arms could reach out in front, or if you want like a super cool yoga bind, our left arm could reach out in front of our left shin and then wrap around behind us to our back, and we can grab it with the opposite hand. That's too pretzely for you, no worries. We can just forward fold with our arms in front of us. Okay, stretchers. We can come to upright, keeping our legs where they are again. We're coming to half saddle now. So half saddle, we're gonna lean our body back behind us. So your fingertips could be little kickstands behind you, maybe your palms. I like to kind of pick up my butt and tuck it underneath, so I'm thinking about being long through the right side of my body. Maybe you can lower down onto your forearms, or onto your back if you've got a lot of space in you. So we're going for a stretch in the top of the right quad here. Maybe right hip flexor will feel this. Head can do whatever is comfortable for you. You could certainly put a pile of pillows underneath you. If I was teaching a class with lots of props, that's what we would do for sure. Finding, and if this is just like not at all working for you, any sort of right quad stretch is fine. So we can roll over to our side and grab that right ankle or something else. Yeah. Be here for a little while though. Okay, everyone. Let's just like get out of here however you want. Roll on over, flap on over, come to all fours eventually. Woof. Ugh. From all fours, we'll tuck our toes underneath, hips up high, downward facing dog. Stretch out the backs of those legs again, pedaling heels towards the ground. Woof, knees. And we'll walk our hands to our feet or our feet to our hands, coming to a hanging fold. Hands can do, again, whatever you want. Grab opposite elbow, interlace behind your neck. Stay on the earth. Grab your big toes. Maybe rocking your weight a little bit more towards the balls of your feet, if that intensifies the stretch for you. Always breathing, but especially when our head is below our hearts. All right, releasing our arms if we're doing anything special with them, bending our knees enough till our palms can come to the ground, walking ourselves out to downward facing dog again, pedaling alternating heels to the earth. Whew. Let's come forward to all fours, untuck our toes. We haven't cat-cowed yet. It's not stretching without that, so we'll do that before we head to the other side. Drop belly down, gaze up to the sky, and reversing it, doming our back, gazing back towards our pelvis. Back and forth a few times at your own pace. Cat, cow. Lovely. Oh. All right, come into stillness. We'll sit back on our heels, do all that weird stuff on the other side. So this time our weight goes onto our left butt cheek. Our right foot finds the ground. Woof. We're gonna start by looking over our right shoulder, so maybe hugging that right knee even for a little twist. And then spinning through center, looking over our left shoulder. And back to forward gaze. We'll grab the thigh of the right leg and press ourselves forward any amount, maybe our whole torso into that leg or just our hands. Trying to find a stretch in the back of the right calf or the front of the right ankle. Great to hang out in stillness here, or we could play with a couple degrees of moving the knee left and right, sweeping it side to side. Whew. And then sitting upright, taking our weight off of that right thigh. We're gonna come to our forward fold over the left thigh. So our chest comes forward over that left leg, maybe arms to the ground. Perhaps right arm reaches around the front of the right shin to behind us, grabs fingers behind our back. Or arms just stay hanging in front of us. Working on like half of a squat, a bunch of forward fold, maybe some shoulder opener, lots of good stuff in this pretzel pose for sure. Okay, if we've got any arm binds, we'll let them go. We're coming to upright, and then we're working for our saddle on the left leg or some sort of quad stretch. So if you're doing it as written, our hands will come behind us, and then we'll walk ourselves down to our forearms or some sort of slumped back, feeling the stretch in the left quad. Again, if that doesn't work on this side, feel free to switch to some sort of left quad stretch that's less intense. Oof. Again, sometimes picking up your pelvis and kind of tucking your tailbone under can get into some meatier parts of your quad. Maybe after a breath or two, you can lower down farther onto your back. Okay, stretchers, rolling on over to one side or the other, flapping out from wherever you are, coming to tabletop, all fours, fingers spread wide, palms underneath our shoulders, tuck those toes under, open up the back of your knees, hips high, downward facing dog, pedaling one heel and then the other towards the ground. Raising onto our tiptoes and then lowering heels towards the earth. One more time, we'll walk our hands to our feet to our hands for a hanging forward fold. Again. Soft bend in our knees, hands find the ground, walking ourselves out towards downward dog. Forward to a high plank, top of a push-up. We'll lower all the way down to our bellies. Untuck our toes. Bring our forearms to the earth in front of us for our Sphinx pose. Elbows under shoulder, pushing into the elbows, growing nice and tall, gazing in front of us. Legs parallel behind us. Big toes don't quite have to touch, but make sure we're not splayed super wide out here. Little pelvic tuck if we're feeling discomfort in our low back. Lowering down to our stomachs, we're gonna do one shoulder opener today, once per side. So we'll send our right arm out to the side. If you want it out like a T, that's classic. If you wanna have it like a goal post or at a 45-degree angle, if you know either of those are better for you, those are fine choices. Then we'll roll on over to our right side. Our top leg could flap over on top of us. Our head can rest on a pillow or the ground. Just gently letting gravity pull that shoulder open for a while. We'll be here a while longer, staying right where you are. Maybe there's space for your top arm to reach up and behind you or out overhead if either of those call to you, or just to think about rolling slightly farther over onto your shoulder. Nice work, athletes. We'll roll gently back to our tummy, pulling our arms in underneath us, making sure our legs are close to parallel. And we're heading straight to the other side. So this time your left arm can slide out to the left side, or whatever the opposite side is. And then we'll roll over onto that side body, top leg, maybe flipping over. Yes. Okay, stretchers, rolling on back to our bellies. Ugh. Gathering our arms in, we'll push ourselves up to tabletop. Nice and slow moving. We got one more long hold coming your way, and that is pigeon. So today I'm going to suggest we curl our toes under and lift our hips high because we down dogged a lot. Finding our down dog, we'll take our right knee, we'll swing it on forward to right behind that right wrist. Lower the back knee down, untuck those back toes. Maybe bring this front shin close to parallel with the front of your space, or not quite. A nice flex in that right ankle can protect your right knee if it feels not so great. Finding a spot where we can maybe forward fold here. Certainly stacking something to rest your head if you'd like. Upright pigeon is a fine choice too if that calls to you. Otherwise, we'll hang out in a low pigeon. Maybe thinking about your pelvis, figuring out if it's you want to send one hip side closer to the earth or the other, what kind of stretch you're feeling. little bit longer, maybe you can send that left leg farther behind you or elongate your spine, sending your torso closer to the earth. Or maybe this is more than enough and you want to flip onto your back and do some modified version of it. Okay, team, we can walk our palms back underneath us and maybe try to bring our knees together to tabletop, or just falling over to your right butt cheek and reassess getting ourselves onto all fours in some other ways. Cool. Once you're there, tuck those toes under, lift our hips up high. One final downward dog of the day. Maybe your heels are slightly closer to the earth. Your head can come a little bit farther between your arms. Then we'll take this left knee, squeeze it on up to behind the left wrist. Right knee finds the earth, right toes untuck, right leg slides back behind you. Left shin maybe comes forward a little bit, maybe not. Chest comes down, pigeon on the opposite side. Always cool to flip it over for an upside down pigeon if you want to just hold your shin versus letting gravity mush you into it. Ugh. As we spend time here, maybe there's more room for your chest to get closer to the ground, your spine to grow long, and your head to grow away from your pelvis, or your right leg to slide farther back. Or again, maybe you need to flip over at any point to take the pressure off your hips. Next stop is going to be meeting on our back in a little cannonball. So maybe you'll walk your hands up a little bit and roll on over to one side or the other. Maybe you want to come completely out to tabletop or something. Ugh. But as you're ready, we'll find our way onto our back, grabbing our knees into our chest and rock them gently side to side. Our arms will go up between our knees and grab our shins, our ankles, our big toes, our feet, some part of our body for happy baby, pulling our knees down towards the earth beside us as we rock side to side. And then gathering our knees back together, continuing our rock side to side a few more times. The next time time the knees are over to the left side of our space, we'll let them fall all the way over that way. We'll gaze over our right shoulder. Maybe our right arm will reach out towards the right side. Supine twist. And looking back up at the ceiling, we'll bring our knees back into center, give them a nice squeeze, flop them on over to the opposite side of our space. Looking over our left shoulder now. One last time, we'll draw our knees into center, bringing our head to neutral. Squeeze those knees into our chest. Good job, legs. We'll extend our legs long, coming to our final pose of the day. Shoulders can tuck underneath us, palms to the sky by our hips. There's some other completely unrelated final pose that is restful, restorative, non-striving for you. Feel free to figure that out too. Otherwise, finding some stillness where we're not trying to do anything, but letting our mind quiet down. Deepening your inhales and exhales, feeling your lungs expand, maybe your rib cage. Bring movement back to your body by nodding your head side to side, wiggling your toes or your fingers, flexing and pointing your ankles. And gently, as you're ready, we'll roll over to one side of our space and curl up in a fetal position for a nice big inhale and slow exhale. One more time. Big inhale, slow exhale. Using your strong arms, we'll push ourselves up to upright. Oh, sleepy time. Thanks for coming to class. So fun. Happy January.